Hola, bonjour, and hello, everybody. You are listening to Worldwide Tea. It is the one and only podcast where every single week we recap every single episode of the International Drag Race franchises. And as always, I am Evan Sadi from Pop Matters.
I'm Gregory Elwood, and look for some pieces from me in the envelope in the LA Times this month. There's one I'm actually quite proud of about Palestinian films that are being nominated or that are trying to be nominated. So check that out. Check my name, check my
Yeah.
source socials. But we're here to talk about Drag Race, Evan, and
Dag
perhaps
nabbit.
one of the best franchises going that just continues to surprise in many
Yeah,
ways.
and like, I want you to know again, as Greg and I have noted multiple times, we do this on our own. We're not being paid to do this. Is something that we do as a passion project. I guess if you're to describe it in other days, Greg and I just work 6 days a week. Is how I would say is what we do. It's just constant. It's just. I'm not sure if you have ever worked 6 days in a week, but if you know, then you know the hustle of someone who always has to say, "In this house of love, we believe that all drag is valid, and no queen ever deserves online hate." And as American entertainment journalists, you may not get every reference and always appreciate corrections. And most importantly, there are some truly great queens who aren't good at Drag Race, and we love them all the same. But most critically, some of the queens we love, they're just going home. Greg, we had to
Yeah.
say goodbye to one of my favorites last week, Denebola Murnau. And now we come into season 5, episode 7. The queens come back into the workroom, and it was interesting because Farron, right out the gate, was just like she was comparing her run to Ornella, which is basically talking about like going a long period without any wins. Do you find any correlation of iconic behavior between the two at all?
I don't remember Ornella except for her gigantic wigs, but it did feel like that was something that the producers, spoiler, may have had
Spoiler.
her say later on after the episode was over to make it a little bit of, as we like to say in the business, foreshadowing. Some
Yeah.
foreshadowing. So,
Also, another weird thing that happened this episode because right before the break, Alexandra talks about, "Hey, I hope you're all tuned into your Astra player." There were multiple Astra player references from the cast this week. I'm
yeah.
not sure if that was like a plan or that's just how it happened, but it was just really, really interesting that the people who watch in Espana who watch on the original platform, not WoW, we got that shout out, baby.
And I was the only other thing I thought when they came back in is they really didn't care. They were like they were sad Denebola went, but they weren't that sad. And
Right.
also Daphne very distinctly said that she's afraid she knows this show. She said that, and that she is afraid she's going to be in the bottom because she hasn't won. She's won. Wait, she hasn't won at all, has she?
I thought she won one.
Maybe
I
she
might be
won
crazy.
once.
Yeah,
Maybe a
yeah.
group anyway. But she's very afraid she's going to be in the bottom soon. Again, potential foreshadowing, but or maybe
Potential
not.
foreshadowing. Yeah, exactly.
But Evan, the next day they come into the workroom. They're back. And let us tell you, Alexandra Duraval, she is in her feelings. She's in her feelings so much she has given us a catchphrase that is ready for a t-shirt, Evan. She wants everyone to know she works 6 nights a
Have
week in Barcelona.
6 nights a week. 6 nights a week.
Six
It's you can't
nights.
stop it. You can't stop it. It's incredible. Real quick. Number one, I will say, Daphne, she has won one challenge. She won the first week. I had to double check that.
Oh, sorry.
Number two, when they walk into the workroom, they're actually some of them are wearing the Denibola masks that she made, which I thought was actually a very loving and sweet
Aw.
tribute, which was very kind. But most importantly, between last week and this week, they said their goodbyes. No one really sat down and be like, by the way, congratulations, Knicks, for your win. No, that doesn't happen
Nope.
because we have to go
Nope.
right to Alexandra's full fucking crash out moment here, which is just wild, Greg. Why
Wild.
why is she feeling the way that she's feeling for someone who works 6 nights a week?
Because she's a professional. She works 6 nights a week. She is with the people. She has her, we later find out she has her fans who support her, who are always there for her. She brought a letter, I think, from one of them, if I'm correct.
Uh-huh.
Like she brings up like that it means so much. Also, I feel like she thinks she needs this money more than any of the other girls.
Oh
Like
God, yes.
no one else could
Yes.
need the money as much as her, which it's possible. We don't know.
Yeah.
But that is wild. But I do. There was a moment as the season has gone on. Daphne, in particular, her facade of control and maturity, which she still is super mature, has slightly cracked here and there. Last week,
Uh-huh.
if you are watching the show and remember, she miscalculated in putting Nyx in the role that she thought she would bomb in, and in this episode, she's not really trying to argue with Alexandra. But Alexandra is talking and she basically tells her to shut up. And we get a Daphne queening out for the first time going, "Oh, girl." And I was like, we have not seen this from you. Okay, you're starting the pressures are affecting you too. That really popped to me. What about you? Anything else from the table?
I I mean, it was weird because Daphne was like, I feel underappreciated. I feel like the judges aren't seeing me. She calls out Locke. She specifically thanks Satin for
Yeah.
being there. And Satin, by the way, who looks so Real Housewivesy right now with this fucking flat hair, just like, and parka jacket thing. Like, she's just there to do it's just like Alexandra, she doesn't have a narrative. And like as we're discovering with UK, which is currently running, please check out our coverage of that as well.
Sure.
There are some narratives that they are setting up and destroying left and right. There's not really a clear narrative over here. So really all Alexandra has right now is that she's just crashing out. That's her narrative. So it's like I don't think it's necessarily one
Yeah.
that she wanted, but that's certainly what she's given production. So yeah.
I am wondering if she went home and realized what her, I don't want to say her behavior was bad, but what her maybe attitude was. Like, I feel like she might be shocked when she sees all this, or maybe not. Maybe she's like, that's me. That's all good. But more importantly, Evan, we have our weekly mini challenge because if any franchise is going to give you a fun mini challenge, it's going to be Espana. And this week's, do you want to give the title is just like, would you like to reveal?
Does your watermelon ring a bell? I
So
had to I had to see if I had accidentally ingested an edible earlier today. My husband is cackling off camera, by the way. I reminded him that's the name of the challenge, and he's like, "What are we doing here? What is it, Greg? How can you ring a bell per watermelon standards?"
Evan, a good friend of mine, has been one of the challenge designers and producers on Big Brother for at least 6 years. I don't think in his wildest dreams he ever thought, I'm going to give them sticks with their names on it, with watermelons on it, and they have to eat the watermelon, and then we can come up with this name because why not? Like
Yeah.
it's so wild. And then the
Uh-huh.
eventual challenge has, oh yes, it does, of course. They have to take watermelons and make them look like the queens that they are assigned in the sticks randomly, which can be themselves. And that's how you know this was random. Because oh
Because
boy,
Margarita, she got herself absolutely, and they still didn't get
it,
it on the
they still
nose.
didn't get it. Do you want to go through this really quickly, or do
Where,
you,
where were the? I guess the better question is, what were the highlights and lowlights for you out of this
the
one?
highlights for this was that they only had 15 minutes to do it.
Uh,
Uh, that
Pretty good.
that Satine did Nyx and made her instantly recognizable with a gigantic nose. Um, Laka did Alexandra, and I thought it was artistic. And Nyx did Laka, and it seemed very easy, like the
Like,
mustache.
listen, the sailor hat was nice, the little bubbles, but like you got it. The mustache gave it away. It was pretty good. Yeah.
And Daphne, the only thing about Daphne's was Satine in a confessional says she needs to sign up for arts and crafts classes in the middle of town, in the town square, which I was like, okay, Satine, you're getting comfortable now. You're starting to like
Uh-huh.
enjoy this. I don't think
Uh-huh.
she was at first, but now
I
she's
would
sort of
agree.
like in the mix.
Yeah. I don't think she would
But
save herself if she was given a full heart at this point, like she did
no.
before. Yeah.
Um, and oh no, she would save herself. This time,
I
now
mean,
she
yeah,
would. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Uh, but anyway, Nyx wins, and she wins, by the way, 15 minutes of work to get 500 euros. I'll take that.
I'll do it any day of the
I'll
week.
do
She did
it.
great, honestly. And this right after her challenge win too. So now we got a Maxi and a Mini. She's doing the Kiana with a K run.
So we had speculated when we saw the preview last week that this week's episode was going to be like a design challenge, like a Club 69 sort of make a club or
Right.
make a, hotel room sort of thing. And that is not what it was.
At
Evan,
all.
how would you describe this week's challenge?
So this is basically an improv challenge they're given this week, in which they have to come up with characters and sell a crappy apartment to a prospective buyer on here. There's mystery guest buyers that they aren't aware of that come in, and they have to basically improvise the scene around them and basically work as a team to do what they can to sell these crappy apartments. Each apartment for each group is different. Two groups of two, one group of three. And as the winner of the challenge, Nyx gets to decide how to break it up. And so she decides to put put herself in a group with Ferran and Margarita Calafata. Meanwhile, she puts Satin and Alexandra together, and then Laka and Daphne are in a group as well. And out the gate, I'm like, okay, I guess you could argue that Ferran and Margarita have proven themselves as actors. I'm not sure about improvers, but putting yourself immediately in a trio is a choice. Certainly. Out the gate.
You know what? I like Nyx is fine. I'm not a huge fan. That would,
Mhm.
if I ever met her, my first question would be like, why did you do that? Like, why? Like it's almost like tying your hand behind your back to make it harder.
Right.
It made me think like, did the producer say, hey, would be really happy if you did this and they're your friends, like hang out with them.
And I'm
But
like, are you not confident in your acting abilities? But I'm like, duh, you just won for the fucking Rusical last week, so I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know anyway. I think what's going on. But okay, bet. Yeah.
But the only thing that I thought that wasn't needed this episode is they did spend way too much time before they went into the challenge, like sort of sitting
Hmm.
around and talking about it. And then this week's guest judge, Avril Zamora, who is a transgender actress, a writer and director, and she's actually best known for a show called, I remember actually hearing about this, called Vis-a-Vis, or the English
Hmm.
translation is Locked Up. Sort of like, this is a bad comparison, but Orange is the New Black, like sort of
Hmm.
version of that about women in prison in Spain. But I remember it sort of popping at, I think it got like international Emmy nods. But anyway, she's known for that, and she's here to give improv advice. And I'm like, we don't need this. Like they should have just gone straight to the episode. Um, did you have any thoughts? Because I was like, why are they doing all this?
Yeah, the only other thing was before she came in, and she, by the way, was a lovely guest judge. She actually had some of
Yes.
the best critiques all this episode. But while they're in a trio, Margarita goes off to get a prop, and Nixon and Ferran are just like, man, she really sucks at listening, doesn't she? I hope we're able to overcome this. Which I'm like,
Mm.
bold thing to say to someone mic'd up within listening distance, but okay, let's do it.
I also feel like people don't understand in these workrooms. It's not that you can't really be quiet anywhere. Like
Right.
everybody hears everything. They're not that small. Like I don't, it's sort of funny.
Hmm.
But then they go to the actual challenge itself.
Hmm.
And I am going to say this, it must have been 20 minutes later because they're in some of the worst drag they've been in the entire season.
Yes,
Like
that is
some of them
true.
have looked better in mini challenges quick than this.
Some of them
Um,
look better as watermelons.
Yes. But up first is Alexandre Duraval and Satin Greco. And they're, as if we have not mentioned this, they are playing real estate agents trying to
Mhm.
convince a prospective tenant to rent an apartment. And when the queens show up, they have not seen the apartment yet. They've not actually walked into it. So they set this up for the audience by basically explaining that with Supreme Deluxe and with our guest judge, sort of outside in the fake lobby. And then we watch as Satine and Alexandra's playing sort of a nun. Like I was
A
sort of
bearded
confused.
nun
Bearded
thing.
nun. And Satine was playing like a real estate, like an
Like,
antique
yeah,
real
she's the only
estate
one who
agent.
really did, and it's like it
Yeah,
kind of worked. Yeah.
it was. And then the best news of all best news, and we've been waiting, we've been counting the episodes. The one, the only, Poopy Poison shows up as the prospective tenant. I think she even has a line or something where she says, I'd come back every week, every year.
Right, exactly. Oh, it made me so happy, Greg. It
Oh,
really did.
so happy.
Yeah, because also if you're going to have an improv challenge and there's a secret guest, you need someone who's willing to play with you, and most critically, she is down to play. And I think that's the thing. And so it was interesting too because I thought that as a group, what was the dynamic here? And having real estate agent and bearded nun was odd as a thing because this one
Yeah.
there's a dead body on the bed and there's just a lot of stuff not working. None of these apartments are great. That's the whole idea. But it seems that more than anything, Satin is doing the challenge of trying to sell Poopy, who's playing this at-home telemarketer taking calls this whole
Yeah.
time kind of thing. Like she's actually selling it. She's improving. Anything breaks. Oh no, it's supposed to like that. It's one of those no cold refrigerators. Like she's rolling with it. I don't know what Alexander is doing the entire time. I am confused as to
But you
what's
know what?
happening.
I didn't care because I don't speak Spanish and I'm only reading the translations and
Yeah.
seeing Satine's like emotive actions and her acting, and I laughed. I like burst out laughing a couple times. It was so good. It was, And it was Satine was so good. There was moments where Poopy was even like
Trying
surprised,
to like,
like
yeah,
she was trying
not
to
to
not
break.
like break
Yeah.
the scene. But Alexandra, I don't know what the whole. I assumed Alexandra paid too much attention to what the notes were on what her character was supposed to be, and just instead of
Mhm.
just improving it, which became a problem, I think, for some of the other queens when we got to theirs. Who was up next, Evan? Or did you have any other thoughts on this masterclass from
Oh,
Satine Greco?
I just to be fully honest with you, Greg, like she won Snatch Game, but even then, I thought that was kind of like a little bit dicey. I thought there were a couple other candidates that could be in here. There is no question in my mind Satine won this challenge. Her
Oh,
confidence, her delivery, she is on a trajectory in here where to the point where it's like I'm not sure if a hug and a kiss is all she needs to get to where she needs to go, but I will say that at this point she's owning it and she's earning it. And it's the thing where it's like she's turned me into a fan too. Like she's getting a little bit more
yeah.
sassy. She knows long it has to be the noble mother, which some of the older queens that get cast on any of these franchises tend to fall into that stereotype. She's I'm just on board and I'm really happy about it. But per your point, the very next guest is our wonderful trio. So this is Nyx, Farhan, and Margarita. And Greg, if I were to try and describe what their characters were, that is an
Right.
impossible task. They kind of were all in kind of this like real estate housewifey kind of vibe, but they
Mm-hmm.
were just like they wasn't very distinct than anything else. Out of all of them, Nyx I thought actually kind of did the most. She is definitely way more confident now in terms of how she's presenting. But Greg, it's not Poopy a second time. We actually have another guest going out here who decides to swing by and try and check out this apartment.
It was none other than the foreshadowed Hornella. How do you say her last name again?
Ornella
Hornella
Gongarera, yes.
Gongorella. And her massive wig, which the queen seemed shocked. They had no idea she was gonna come through that door.
Right.
And they immediately, I think one of them says something about the wig like within like 3 seconds. This was an utter mess. I thought the fact that Nyx found any moment to, and it's not stealing the spotlight, but to do something funny, like
Right.
that could be memorable, which was sort of unintentional because I think she slipped when she fell on the, but she
Right. But
used
she
it
owned it. She
comically.
embraced it.
She
Right.
owned it. That's what you're supposed to do in improv. And and you could tell Hornella was like very taken aback, like what is going on with these girls? Like what are they doing? And even more so, I thought I was eventually very surprised by the rankings at the end of the episode
Hmm.
because Margarita made a choice with a character, and maybe it's something inherent to some character on television or in pop culture in Spain that we're not getting. But it was a bad commitment, and I thought she was just as bad as Farron.
Yeah.
But Farron probably maybe like faded away a little too much in all of it. But it was all a mess. Like Rue would have just had all three of them in the bottom. Sorry, Nix. Like you're with them. You're part of this. It's yeah. I
Right.
did when they eventually judged them individually. I was like, oh, producer shenanigans. Did you have any thoughts on this? Did you feel bad for Hornella like I did?
I kind of did.
Yeah, I
Like
felt
because
bad.
I thought that Poopy did a better job of controlling the scene, but also she had more to. There was less chaos that she had to control. So it's just again, it's like if they all came together, did a bit like chaos, chaos, guys, but we come together like we're the real estate sisters or something like that. If there was some way to like reunite their
Yeah.
actions or something like that, that would have been helpful. Instead, it was just three little comets spinning in their own galaxies, and it just didn't make for a good scene.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But the last group was Laka and Daphne. Oh my God, sorry. Hey guys, if you're listening to this, I got up at fucking 7 o'clock this morning after being out till 2 to get a plane to Philadelphia because I'm going to this Netflix event. So I am like half here, but I'm here. And in my notes, I do have Laka has massive tits, and
Yes,
that
yeah.
was essentially her character.
Greg is half here but not here, very much like Alexandre de Reval this whole episode.
Yes.
I will say yes. Greg had to wake up early. It was about maybe before 7. It was more like 6, 7, something like
Yes.
that. Most critically,
Oh,
I'm so sorry. I'm so
oh,
sorry to this man. Most critically, though, Laka is in the biggest jumbo tits you've ever seen in your life. Like she's embracing it. Daphne has just like weird blue lipstick smeared around her mouth, like she just came from trade. And it's like the thing where they are an unusual pair. Like they're kind of together. They're more together than the trio, I'll say that much.
yeah.
But they also have a special guest here that's not Ornella or Poopy. Who's this guest, Greg?
Evan, I had to look up who this was. I did not,
Yeah.
because they go, "Oh, it's Shanti," and I'm like, "Who's Shanti?" And Shanti went home first last season
Last
on Drag
season.
Race
Yeah.
España, and I never followed her. I completely forgot about her. And
Hmm.
I do have to say though, if there's a queen looking to make a comeback after being a first out, she might be it because I did think at times she sort of stole this scene from the girls. She was
Yeah.
loud and obnoxious, and she knew what she
Uh-huh.
was doing. She also had the most pedestrian fucking drag. Almost as bad as the girls.
Incredible. Yeah.
But she definitely unintentionally intimidated Daphne. And Laka was sort of there with it. But I
Mhm.
didn't really laugh. I was more like, oh wow, Shanti's just sort of like
In
running
her own
this.
universe.
Yeah. What did
Yeah.
you
I
think?
know as soon as she came in, they said something about like, oh, the motor mouth is here, which I guess is maybe the reputation that she has, which I was somewhat unaware of. But like,
Yeah.
it still was overall entertaining. Like, there was like suitcases of money under the bed, there was a handcuff, there was like a props like a fake island in the shower. Like, there's a lot more to work with. And to their credit, even if she didn't hit every note, Daphne still went for it. She still went for
Yeah.
those jokes as is. And so like, I very much had a stronger feeling of it, but at the end of the day, it became very clear that this was Satin's show, and no one else was going to take it from her. Truly.
I sort of wish that I mean it didn't really affect the bottom. I mean, I guess it did, but I would have had the winning group be Santine and Alexandra. I would have had the middle group be bottoms, and I would have had Laka and Daphne safe. But
Yeah.
nope, that's not what they wanted to do. But we're gonna find out about that later because first they're
Yep.
back in the workroom. They're the
Hmm.
next day, they're getting ready for the runway, and there's some that this was like a very producer suggested
Hmm.
moment, and but it was very moving. They talked a lot about their families and the people they missed. The one thing that will just stick for me forever is you would think, well, of course Satine Greco would have framed photos from the 1940s of her aunt and mom. Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
And she brought
Um,
them.
and she brought them. Uh, Again, this woman is 39 years old. Let's just remind she's not that old.
Correct.
But there were some other moments. I thought one of the most moving thing we found is we found out that Daphne's mom has had a tumor in her brain for a number of years, and she can no longer speak. I don't think it's affected her mentally; it's just affected that portion of her brain.
Hmm.
Um, but Daphne talked about how she has learned to communicate with her mom in a way that other people haven't. And I thought that was like sort of telling because again, Daphne has had this facade of like, I'm not that she's the perfect ballerina, sort of like Black Swan sort of thing, but like
Hmm.
things don't really sort of bug her or rub her the wrong way. And listen, everybody's got their dramas and pains, and her story does too. Was there anything that
Hmm.
popped for you from this workroom moment?
Overall, I think the biggest thing was seeing the reaction to Nix's family, talking about her journey as well. A lot of people seem to be very moved by it. And I actually thought it was kind of a moment that we all needed because after Alexandra's whole thing in the morning, it was just kind of there was a bitterness in the air, and I thought this kind of helped clear things up a little bit, which was nice. I do like that Satine had a letter from her family as well, but only open it if she went home early. And she's like, "So I'm not opening that yet."
Ah,
I thought that was really really cute. That was really really nice. But otherwise, a lovely vibe
it
altogether.
was very lovely.
Yeah.
And but it's time for the runway, and I just need to do a full stop here, Evan, because this panel is known for great for science, for for giving us fashion, giving us Espana
Avril
fashion.
Zambora showed up. That's all I'll say. Avril Zambora showed up.
I
Absolutely.
And all I want to I my one note was, did everyone like forget that they were shooting today? Like, first of all, our Lord our patron saint Anna Locking, even Anna doesn't look fantastic. Like a wig that she just that her hairdresser
She just
pulled out of a
it's like
box.
a wig that she had, and she had also had a helmet over it, and she just took off the helmet, and it's retained the shape of the helmet.
And
It is
listen,
truly.
Supreme is not wearing some sort of like gigantic unformed like piece of fabric, but she looks like a Japanese manga moth superhero. I can't figure out what the idea behind this look even was. I was just glad there was a cinch, that there was a corset. I was good with that.
What a weird way to announce that you're suddenly joining the House of Jimbo is all I can say. I thought that was quite wild.
And
But
and then also, why is little Calvo dressed like little why is little Javi
Ambrosi.
dressed Ambrosi dressed like he's just stepped off the set of 10 Things I Hate About You, like from the early aughts or late 90s. Like what is going on? I
Did he
literally
just
felt
come
like
back from hosting Espana Blues Clues? I don't know what happened. Like it just
I I
where's the
I
veil?
literally I
Where's the
literally
veil?
looked at three of them and I started thinking, oh wait, they were at their day jobs today and forgot they had to do this. And someone was like, the car's outside. Anyway, not to rip that because we have a category. What is this category for this runway?
We have Spanish playing cards, Greg. So this is, I guess, more specifically regard to tarot cards
Yes.
on here, which allowed every queen to kind of do their own interpretation. And starting us off is Satin Greco as the Ace of Coins. And this is, what did you think? Yeah, 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 yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
was, I wrote high drag, one of her best looks so far.
Yes,
The bodice was absolutely stunning, and it showed a glamour side she has not shown before. So it made me
correct.
think that they knew she was going to win this episode. They picked this runway to show everyone that she is more multifaceted than she may have seemed in the past. But I
Hmm.
thought it was, I don't think she got an OVA from Anna. Again, Anna was working earlier to that day.
Yes, I know. Yeah, she had a shift earlier,
She had a
but no,
shit.
because very specifically, remember Anna actually called her out because she said, and I think not
Oh, Jim.
incorrectly, that she has shown the silhouette multiple times before, and so
Um,
it's the kind of thing where it's like they wanted a little bit more diversity on here. But that was the thing. I don't know if you know this, but not to get ahead of ourselves. The judging, I could not tell where the bracket definition of top, bottom, mid lied because as again, as Greg noted, they just went ahead and interviewed everyone, and it was just like you did great on this and this was bad and this group was terrible but you stood out. Like it was just like there was no real like way to find gravity. The only thing we knew that Satin was going to win, but even with that we've seen the silhouette many times before, which is true, but also like at least we could celebrate this look. This is one of the stronger looks that we had. Yeah.
I just thought she looked glamorous and stunning and
Yeah.
incredible. Up next was Alexandra Duraval, and I didn't think it needed the money gun, but
Hmm.
this Baroque inspired dress I thought was impressive. I thought it was
Yeah.
stylish and cool. And again, I will say this: if fans don't like her because she's brash, she has brought some great runways. As we find out later, she is a lip sync assassin in some ways.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would put her up against some other lip sync assassins thinking she'd win, but she is a good queen. She's not
Yeah.
a bad queen.
Yeah, she's a good queen. She's just has a grating personality. That's all I could. Very simply, very calmly, very accurately.
Wait, are you
Yeah,
saying
this.
is she the Elliot with two T's of Drag Race Espana?
I think she's the Crystal Forever of Drag Race España.
Oh
I'm kidding.
no!
I'm kidding. I'm
Poor
kidding. It's a
Crystal.
joke. It's a joke. She's
It's a
inherited the
joke.
spirit. However, Nyx comes out and Greg, this was an almost for
It's
me.
good.
She did this checkered kind of look over here. It's just like kind of almost like a playing card, just like a series of diamonds. It almost
Hmm.
looked like it was going to be tablecloth print for a second, but the spray paint and some of the other elements kind of work. And when she turned around, there were three swords in her because she was doing the Three of Swords for that. So it was actually the thing where the front of it was like, okay, it was pretty good. It was safe. The sword reveal at the back added a little juice to it. But overall, I thought I liked it. I just didn't think it was like a winning look. Why do you have your face like that,
I
Greg?
can't believe I like this look more than you. Because I'm
Oh,
not a big Knicks fan. I thought the
right.
the front of it was one of the most sophisticated things she's done the entire season. I thought it was
Yeah.
super stylish. It
Hmm.
wasn't. It was subtle, but also to the frame. And I loved just the idea of doing a stencil spray painting. I actually thought it was stenciled print at first. I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
actually
Spray painted.
spray paint because from a distance you can't really tell.
Right.
Um, I thought it was I thought it was I wrote it's fun and smart and super well done. I thought it was really good. Um,
Yeah.
but up next, oh boy, is Margarita. And here's the thing, I didn't need her riding out on the little horse for it.
Correct.
Like I didn't think that was sort of necessary. But I will say it was a great color combos, which we will see
Mhm.
later. And it felt authentic. And she did say though in her confessional or in her voiceover that Rosalia is going to text to borrow the outfit. And I'm just gonna say her mind. She knew then that Rosalia would be releasing the seminal album of the century
Must.
literally 2 days before. And
Uh-huh.
she knew Margarita is a prophet. She is a soothsayer. Like we need to pay attention to everything she says. That being said, I don't think Rosalia wants this outfit at all. Like
No.
that's my take. But I did think it was good. What did you think?
It's the thing where, again, this is one where culturally I felt like I was missing something because very specifically to go with this pop art color pattern, I'm like, this is very bold and it felt like a little bit maybe outside of what we would normally expect from this category, except for the fact that later on, Laka wears something in almost the exact same color story.
Yeah.
So clearly there's something that I'm missing here. Overall, like, it was good, it was unusual. It's the kind of thing where I hate to say it, but like, I kept asking, why don't I like it? Because like I like it in general. I just don't love it. There's just something about it that just felt obtuse or just not in line with the other queens. I couldn't place it. It was overall a very solid look.
I did think it looked even better when the other look came through. But
Yes, yes,
we're
it
getting ahead of
certainly
ourselves.
did.
Up
Yeah.
next was Farron, and for a second I thought it was the queen who just went home last week, Denimbola.
Yeah, Denebola
Uh
now.
Remember
Yes.
now, but it wasn't. It was Farron, and I thought it was really good. It was this stunning print, again, sort of like a Renaissance print jumpsuit that sort of mostly covered her legs and then came up to the top. Maybe she didn't need the hat, but I thought it it escaped the criticism of being costumey and ventured into fashion, and I appreciated it. What did you think?
Um, it was good. Again, this is another one where I think that there were some really, really good points that was brought up later on by Anna, talking about how both the sleeve length and kind of the size of
Mm,
the poofs of this like could have been done to really accentuate or really highlight or really kind of bring something out a bit more. Against the cape color they had, the blue and white really stood out as part of the design. It's just. I'm very tired of Ferdinand's makeup at this point. I'm just
yeah.
kind of it was good. It was solid. There wasn't really a huge miss for me this week, at least until our next queen comes out.
So this is what's really interesting. I feel like this is the second episode in a row where Laka, I'm not saying she's not taking everything seriously, but it's sort of like, I'm here, I'm showing up,
Yeah.
I'm not being dramatic, I'm letting all of you guys like take up the space, and I'll have some fun and confessionals, but like she comes out in this outfit, and granted, this outfit was made weeks ago before she ever shot this, but considering her track record in terms of her uh, um, all the outfits she brought so far, this was the most costume thing she brought. Like I kept
Uh-huh.
looking at it thinking like, what made her think this wasn't like a if she was going to do a Halloween costume in Spain, like that category. Like that's what it felt like to me, like a little bit.
hmm
It didn't look expensive. It didn't look like it was like super tailored. Like, am I missing something?
No, this is again, we see this when she had it was the other week when she had like the white diamond kind of princessy kind of look where it just was like a corset and just a
Ah,
couple of elements kind of together. It's just like it felt very thrown together, which she's already given us some better than expected things. Like she's been emerging as a much stronger contender than I initially pegged her as. But even with that, it's just kind of like it just felt leftover. This is unfortunately by far the worst look of the week. And like there's just kind of no bouncing back from that. Although I have some feelings about our next look too, I will
I had a
say.
lot of feelings on this. And in fact, I was very happy that Anna literally said the first thing I wrote down when she eventually critiqued this look. But Daphne McGlare comes out, and the first thing I wrote is like, this is sexy, but we've seen this a ton on Drag Race.
Eight
And not
million times.
and
Yeah.
not just like I think I've seen this at least 3 or 4 times on US seasons and US All-Star seasons, and we've seen this like on I think Sagittaria wore something like this, like maybe in her first season. We've seen this on
hmm
France. We've seen this in Spain, like oh, it's not Spain. I'm sorry, Holland. Like I this look is like, and not only that, the more I looked at it, I was like, oh, you can get this on Amazon. Like I'm not being
Oh, yeah,
shady.
yeah.
No,
No.
you can go and order this right now. Like she did add some stuff to the back to it, but like that sort of whatever thing was on her back. but the corset, the boots, everything else, this is a 20, like this will come tomorrow if you order by 5 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just like, again, all these queens, they're coming up with their packages, and sometimes they just have to pick one where it's like, shit, I don't have time, I'm gonna do what I can. But also, this did not give playing cards to me at all. This,
At
like,
all.
at all.
Yeah. This
But
this
she looks sexy because she's 20 and she has an amazing body and good makeup, and yeah, anyway.
This to me, and again, if we're going to get our merch store going, obviously we're going to obviously have the patron saint of Satin with the one huggy hugging and the other one kissing. Obviously, we talked about that idea.
Yeah.
The other one we're going to get for our potential shirts or bracelets or coasters or cozies is going to be drag closet, because Mama, that's what this is. Like this is truly like, oh, you have a corset, oh, you have a silver lame boots that match it. Let's just add on a bunch of swords as a back piece and let's go. Like this felt safe from a queen who I'm very much not used to seeing safe looks from this season at all.
Actually, you know who did this look first?
Mm.
Thank God she wasn't a guest judge this week. A similar look. It was it's still better. Nikki Doll. Nikki Doll did this
Mm.
on her drag race season and then wore it at the Olympics. And
Yes,
I'm
yes, yes,
like,
yes, yes.
Daphne, are you telling me you 4 months before this was shot 4 months after the Olympics, you don't remember that image that like was all over the world? Anyway, again,
Anyway.
I love Daphne very much, but sometimes the young pops out. But
Yes.
anyway, we find out that no one is going to the workroom. They're all going to be on stage and critiqued and judged individually. Dun, dun, dun. Evan, what were your thoughts on the critiques?
Overall, again, this was an odd mix because no one was truly in the top or in the bottom. Like, I could tell pretty definitively that as much as they really loved Alexandra's look and when they said it's one of the best things she wore, I don't disagree. Like, even with Ferrin, even with Margarita, it was hard to just determine who actually was the top or bottom. Even with Satin, they said great performance to give us a different runway. Like, it still wasn't an out and out banger in terms of things. So, overall, across the board, they kind of poked and prodded. Were there any other specific critiques that stuck out to you outside of like, hey, Nix, you ran this group and you did the best out of all of them, even though the group sucked ass?
The only thing that popped to me was that the guest judge critiqued Margarita for her
Hmm.
performance, and she basically disagreed with the hobbies who
Hmm.
are trying to protect Margarita, like they've been
Hmm.
doing it every week, and
Yeah.
Supreme. And she was, but that's what happens when a judge who's not part of the storyline comes in and is like, "Well, I just saw
Just
what I
here's my honest
saw,
thought. Right.
and
Yeah.
that was bad." That was the one thing that popped. But I didn't think anything. And I mean, we mentioned it before. I thought Anna was very honest about all the outfits. I thought she correctly
Yes.
critiqued Laka, and she gave credit to at least Margarita's look. Um, and
And there were no ovas. Yeah, exactly.
no
Like,
Ovas. But again, I do feel like they had a very busy day before they showed up. Like they all seemed off. The judge and
yeah.
critique feel like they had a busy day. And it was like, now you have to do this at 2 o'clock. And they don't always feel like that. So anyway, they're back in the workroom, while the judges do their critiques. And the only thing that I wrote that popped to me was Farron says improv is her gig, and she's disappointed in how she did. And I was like, it is your gig? Did we know this? I don't remember. And then Laka not being able to control herself, laughing with Alexandra Dureval giving her third goodbye in a row, which was quite funny and humorous. And I thought broke the fourth wall a little bit, and I sort of liked that.
Hmm.
Was there anything else that popped to you?
Just everyone being bored as hell with luck. I think at one point, I think I can't remember. I think it's even Daphne that says, "If I hear her say I work 6 nights a week
Yeah,
one more time, I'm going to lose it." Which I
and
was like nailed
I
it. Yeah.
I gotta say, we are both very busy people, but
Yes.
this season is giving merch ideas like no other season. Like I don't, we have the image. We need the image, the drawing of the Javis consoling Satin Greco. We now have the I work 6 nights a week in Barcelona, which I may just make for myself. Like I
Right.
just might
Right.
do it. But it is, yeah, I'm, and by the way, we have 3 more episodes. I can't wait. What's next? Let's get a trifecta of
Yeah.
merch ideas.
We can do
Um,
it.
we can do it. But anyway, they come back on the stage, and surprise, 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 who is this week's winner, Evan?
It is Satin Greco, and don't worry, Greg. She doesn't just win 2,500 euros. She also wins a hotel stay, Hotel Cinero. She gets it. She had the long awaited, and she doesn't know when she'll be able to use it. She says she works 6 days a week, so when did she gonna have 2 days off? That's the tricky part. Good thing it didn't go to Alexandra.
Not only that, she does not know the city where it is in Spain.
Yes,
She's like, I've never heard of that.
which is
It's
amazing.
it's a coastal city next to Gibraltar, by the way. So that I looked it up. But also no Axel Hotel. Ooh,
Yes.
no Axel.
Boo.
Oh
But
well.
we do get a very clear definition of who the actual bottom three are at this point,
Mhm.
because Nyx is immediately then sent to the back, and ultimately our remaining bottoms are Alexandra and Ferdin and Laka, which kind of
Blew
doesn't
my
sit
mind.
with me all that well. Like, yes, her I didn't think her runway was great. I thought she did better in the challenge than
Hmm.
many of the other people that are safe at this point. So why is it Margarita down here? Like, it just felt very odd to me.
I uh I mean, I was just sort of shocked. And I think Laka was a little bit too.
Hmm.
But I don't know why I wrote this, but Alexandra in Confess says something like she saw this coming, you see her heart and screw you. When did she say that? I don't know when she said that. But anyway, I made that note. I think
Anyway,
it might have been in
yeah,
confessional. She wasn't thrilled that she was in the bottom again. Uh, but they the we then have, oh, she did it in response to
the heart.
um the heart from Denambola, who gave it to Laka. And I think Alexandra felt betrayed or not betrayed, or I don't know. I thought Denambola was friends with Laka, so I think who
Hmm.
cares. But no surprise, Laka decides to keep the heart, which essentially saves her and saves the judges from having to put her in the bottom. But this is my theory, Evan.
Here's the theory.
The judges knew that Laka was going to get the heart. They knew
Hmm.
she could save herself. They
Hmm.
knew that if Margarita was in the bottom, they might have to put her in the bottom for
Hmm.
to lip sync for her life versus Alexandra or versus Farron.
Ferran.
And they didn't want to do that because they wanted to save Margarita. So that's why we're all shocked, but in hindsight, it played out exactly how they wanted it to play, which I
Hmm.
guess is good story producing, and they got lucky in that Denebola, picked Laka, unlike last week where it was like the heart goes to Satine and can't nobody can do anything with it because she only has half a heart.
Cool. Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Thank you,
great.
Crystal.
Um,
Yeah.
but we have our bottom two and we have a lip sync.
Hmm.
And can you pronounce the name of this hit song?
I wrote down the first song, which was hit HITT, as in like high intensity training workout, and it was by La Dia Rusa, who I'm not
Rusa.
immediately familiar with, but it is a much more upbeat, jumpy, a little bit more clubby kind of song than what we're used to. And here's the thing, Greg. As much as I am certainly more than happy for her to sashay away at any point, um, Alexandra wants to stay. She wants to stay in this competition real, real bad. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I thought it was close. I thought that Farron doing the death drop at the end, sorry, might have saved her. And it had
Hmm.
felt like for most of the season that the producers and the Javis and Supreme liked Farron more than potentially Alexandra. But surprise, surprise, that is not what happened. And instead, Alexandra Duraval is saved and
Again,
are
again.
again she has become the lip sync assassin of this season.
Effectively, yeah. And listen, she had props, she had reveals. She at some points it looks like she was almost trying to block Federer, which I'm like, that might go against her. But she still had more control of the stage overall.
Hmm.
So like it did make sense. The judges gasped when she did her front forward roll. Like okay, I get it. Like it's solid. These aren't like amazing life-changing lip syncs. We already had a tear-jerking lip sync earlier in the season, which set the world afire. But like this was
Yeah.
just all right. But yes, ultimately Alexandra wins, and Ferran goes home. And it's interesting because the week prior, when Dinabola went home, everyone was in tears. The judges were in tears. The queens were in tears. Not the case with Ferran. However, I will say.
No.
Ferran is actually handles it pretty well because she, goes and does her exit line. She goes to the workroom and then she looks back at the camera. And is like, I did pretty well. I thought I did pretty good. Like she's not like being like facetious, like pompous, like bitter. She's just like, I'm really happy with what I did here. Like ultimately, like
Oh,
she's just kind of
good.
like owning it. Like I did solidly. Obviously I wish I did better, but she's just like has a smile on her face. She's not like she's like hurt, but not like overly so. It's just it was kind of a different vibe and like low key. I'm like, oh, if you're gonna go out, that's kind of how you go out. Like I kind of dug it a little bit. It wasn't full Crystal Forever PR mode. She just really she was just like, whatever. I disagree. I'm pretty solid though. I'm like, all right, that's a pretty healthy attitude. I'm not mad.
Listen, I do think in our lifetimes there will be another Drag Race España All-Stars, and I'm just begging now. We don't need Farron on Drag Race All-Stars
I know.
season 2.
I
We really don't.
know.
Like
You know why? Because
she's
Dinah Bowler now is right there. Yeah.
there's about 20 other queens that are right there that I would like
Hmm.
before her. And I'm not hating on her. I don't get it. I don't go understand how she made it this far. And her insistence on this old school tricksy makeup that does never works with any outfit she's doing doesn't make any sense to me. It's not anyway, it's not artistic, it's not flattering, it's not groundbreaking. Anyway, but I wish her well, and I hope she
Hmm.
has 6 gigs a week in whatever city she lives in.
Wherever she goes. That's what we all ask for and truly wish for. But Greg, we find out one other fact before we head out for the week, which
Mm.
is that next week is the last week for the whole heart thing to play out. They will be eliminating it after next week. It'll go back into regular eliminations, which makes sense. We're down to six. But overall, before we even get into that, before I ask you who you think is going to be winning this season of Drag Race España, what did you think of the heart twist this season?
You know what? I liked the idea of the heart twist, and I am not against it, and I hope they bring something like it back in the future. I think how it was explained and executed was
Hmm.
not necessarily as clean as the producers had potentially hoped. And I think there was a lot of word jumbling, even in Spanish, to explain to the queens, to explain to audiences every week what exactly was going on. And I think it was because they wanted it to be part of a heart. And if they had just made it something more simple, it could have worked. But the idea is a queen gets to like give something that could potentially let a queen stay or save another queen. And
Hmm.
that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be a half a heart with a second or a third. What did you think?
I overall, again, I fully agree pretty much on every front. I overall liked it. But it's interesting because I felt like last season when they had the little like piece, like someone goes into a lip sync and they can reveal their thing and oh, it's a swap out thing. That just felt, I don't know. I did not like that twist as much. I thought that was a little forced because only one
Yeah,
queen gets it and we find out later on. Like I didn't love that. But so far, Farron actually is the first queen to be saved from the heart to go home because the other times Nyx was saved twice, Laka Udia was saved. The other, like it just is just interesting. But also so far in terms of people who've received hearts, it's been Satin, Margarita, Satin, and Laka. So no one has actually gone home and has been a recipient of the heart. So at least there's that kind of interesting little factoid on there. Again, overall pretty good. It's not as fun as the Golden Beaver. It's not as clear as the Golden Beaver, even though that's
that's the
clearly what
thing.
it
Yeah.
is. But overall, like, it's a fun little element. I'm glad it's here.
But you know what? Maybe if they bring it back next season, because we've gone through it this season, and the audience is pretty consistent, people will just understand what it is, and maybe they'll figure out a way to make it easier to execute.
Holy.
So we'll find out. I mean, they did pay for that gigantic video mirror that they probably want to keep using
Yeah,
outside of
listen,
one
it
season.
is it's a lovely mirror. Let's be real about that. But great. Most critically, who is going to be winning this season of Drag Race España?
I mean, at this point, I think it would be shocking if Satine doesn't win.
Hmm.
But I will say, I think the bigger question is who is left to like go up against her. And I don't know if I think we all felt really confident about Daphne Mugler earlier in the season. I don't know if I feel that now. There's moments where I felt like they might go the Laka direction. There's moments where I guess now maybe Nyx could be like a Chloe
A
V2
spoiler?
surprise, like a
Yeah.
spoiler towards the end. Um, they still haven't had a trans queen winner, so like that's possible. But I just also feel like how could you have Nyx win when La Nina was like utterly incredible and wasn't even in the
Hmm.
top two.
Yep.
Um, that would just be odd to me. I don't think they I think they think that way too, like it wouldn't make sense to them. Um, and then I don't know who else is I mean Margarita, I guess. Like they love
Yeah,
her. They keep giving
they
her
do.
like these passes and I don't understand it. Um, but yeah, what do you think?
It's exactly the same. It's going to go to Satin Greco, as we know. And I think if we have a top four that has, at this point, I guess, Laka and Daphne and Nyx in there, that's a wide spread on there. I think one of those could be swapped out for Margarita, but I don't see how any of that is the top four. Alexandra will not be making it to the finale. If she is, ugh, I will be blown away. But either way, we'll find out more next week, obviously.
Yep.
And the other thing that we're going to find out is how well you are good at listening and listening to this podcast all the way to the end. Because if you are at this end, obviously throw us a comment below. Let us know who you think is going to win if you're on the YouTube. But most critically, do us a kindness, leave us a review. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or wherever, things like that, there's a way to star these things. And anytime that the stars happen, it helps with the visibility of the show. And it just also helps to know that you're listening because we know some of y'all are here and some of y'all just have us on during your commutes. It's a lovely thing. But if you liked what we're doing right now, and even if you watched it or not, please listen to our continuing UK coverage, which is happening in parallel, in tandem. And most critically, we'll see you all next week because, Greg, it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter what I say. This is who I am, and I will never change, truth be told. I will see you and everybody next week. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Goodbye.